in here.
What's up, dog?
Not much. What's up with you, homie?
What's up? Well, we had the privilege of interviewing one of the coolest content creators of our time.
I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties due to internet and whatnot, but you know what? Phenomenal. We'll get this back on and cracking uh, once we get the ability to do it again.
Get closer to the mic. You're
How is
cutting off.
that?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, we gotta finish part two. We're talking about doing an in-person interview because this one was he had laggy internet at his mini ranch.
Yeah.
But we got to interview Esoteric Eddie.
It was good. Good
It
stuff.
was good.
Um, we got to get him back on. I have some questions I want to ask him, and we're getting into the thick of it right as the internet started going out. But man, what a time! What a time to be alive!
Yeah, it was
There's
such a good interview. What's up?
the thunder and lightning at your house.
No, I don't know what that is. There's no lights on. It's just
It's
it's
the
an orb.
UAPs all up
It's
in
not.
your.
Yeah. So this interview was really good. I feel like we could definitely talk to him so much more about like more things. There's so much that I have to ask and talk about. So, I mean, it's
Too much.
too much. There's
Yeah,
so
it's
much
got to
information.
have to be like another two-part episode.
Hmm.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
it was nice to have him on. I think he's got a freaking wealth of knowledge. He does a lot of research.
Yeah. I guess that's where my questions meet the road is because I seek the knowledge he has, but at the same time, I ask, hey, chill out. Sorry. My dogs are quite enthusiastic. So basically, I want that knowledge. And at the same time, it's almost like I feel different things that pertain to the knowledge, but question it in a different way than others would naturally uh, ask. I don't know if that
Mhm.
makes sense. I, I try to ask different freaking questions.
Yeah. I
But
mean
based
it.
on feel, not what I know, because I don't know shit.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a wealth of knowledge. He has so much content because he just likes to study and look up, tons of stuff. So it's like you go on his YouTube, you can find things. If you go on his Instagram, you'll find things on his TikTok. He loads so many videos on TikToks. Like I don't know how he does it. But he has a bunch of really cool videos and content and YouTubes and everything that you can watch. He's a wealth of knowledge. He should be
Are
charging
you a
for
content
everything.
creator?
Huh?
Are you a content creator? What would you consider yourself? You've helped market
Yeah.
and whatnot, yeah? So,
Hmm.
what the fuck?
What?
This is 422. What do we got to do to get this shit out of here?
What do you mean?
Content creation wise.
What do you mean?
We're going to say at 5 minutes, we're going to jump back in and just pretend it didn't happen. I got the time. Ready? See it?
Hmm. Whoa. What's up?
Um, I don't know. I feel like it was really wild. A lot of synchronicities in the conversation. We're sitting here talking about all these things. I'm like in my head, alchemy, but I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to break train of thought. Then we start talking about alchemy, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to talk about my last experience with psychedelics that pertain to alchemy. And then psychedelics comes in, and I'm like, okay, when you stop talking, I'm fucking going. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's wild. I really did I
Yeah.
tell you that
Mm-hmm.
after it happened? I told you about that experience,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Silomethoxin. Uh, check out the Church of Sacred Synthesis. Tell them your story, and maybe you'll get some.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we do part 2. That was really fun, and I like talking to him.
Actually, we'll probably get somebody Church of
Yeah.
Sacred Synthesis. Yeah, we'll get them on. We'll talk to them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
and Esoteric Eddie, we love you, dude. We
yeah,
want you to come back. Open door policy. Let us know.
we're here anytime.
So we
All
love you guys.
right.
Hope you have a grand evening. Say goodnight.
Enjoy the show. Oh my god. Like, Hey there, fantastic listeners. Have you been dreaming of that sweet house with the perfect Southern California vibes? Well, get ready to meet your real estate game changers. Jennifer Larson and Nicole Rankin, the dynamic duo from the Top Results Group at Remax Top Producers. Let's get real for a moment. Navigating the diverse landscape of Southern California's housing market can be quite the adventure, but fear not, because having the right team by your side is like having a secret treasure map. And trust me, who you work with matters more now than ever before. Now, here's a little personal story for you. When it was time for my family to make the move in SoCal, guess who I turned to? Yep, you guessed it, the Top Results Group. They not only found us a house, but they found our family a home where every morning is full of promise and every night's like a cozy retreat. But here's the real kicker. Jennifer and Nicole aren't just top-notch realtors. They're like your savvy friends who happen to have the experience and negotiating skills of true real estate veterans. Their dedication, their knowledge, it's like having your very own real estate insiders. So, whether you're a first-time home buyer, a growing family in need of more space, or ready to sell and move on to greener pastures, don't even think about going it alone. Head over to www.thetopresultsgroup.com and see how Jennifer and Nicole can turn your real estate dreams into reality. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Reach out today for a free no-hassle consultation. Call 951-221-3774. That's 951-221-3774. The Results Group, outstanding agents, outstanding results.
What's up, my brother?
What's
What's
up?
up? What up? What up? Good to see y'all.
Good to see
How
you
are
too, man.
you?
Doing all right. Sorry, I was running a little late. I just got finished doing some work here on the ranch.
Oh, don't stress.
Doing all
What kind
right.
of
Doing good.
ranch?
I live on a mini ranch. We got a lot of animals and just a lot of chores to do, random stuff.
That's
Random
cool.
stuff.
Wait, are all the animals mini? Like a mini
No,
goat and a mini cow?
no, we got regular goats. It's just a small property, but
Nice.
Like,
yeah.
That's badass. So how are you? How are you doing besides that? Did you have to work today?
No, I had today off from my plumbing work that I do. I'm mostly a plumber, but no, I gave myself today off to just kind of recuperate and work on some other stuff. But no, I'm good.
Nice.
Everything's good. Everything's been really nice lately. I'm gonna have a really busy rest of the week, so that's why I wanted today off to just relax and get prepared for that.
Yeah,
The
what do you
main
got going on
event.
the rest of the week? Good.
Uh, I got two big jobs, two big plumbing jobs that I have to do, but they're going to be paying really well, so I'm excited about that.
That's always
Awesome.
good. You're in Arizona, right?
No, actually, I just moved back to San Diego from Arizona like 2 months ago.
Oh shit. You're right by
Mhm.
me. That's awesome.
Oh, really? Where are you?
I'm north of San Diego, like an hour.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I grew up here in San Diego like for the first 25 years of my life, and then past 4 years I've bounced around different areas.
Yeah. I feel like everybody left San Diego for a little while, and now it's like people are coming back.
Yeah, yeah. I lived in Northern California, like way up north in Santa Rosa for a while, and then went to Arizona for a bit and traveled a little bit while I was in Arizona. But I'm back here in San Diego.
Welcome
Where
back.
where in
Thank you.
Arizona?
I was living in Chandler, Arizona. It's about half an hour south of Phoenix.
I got you for sure. I'm in Lake
Yeah.
Havasu.
Okay. Cool. It's probably real nice out there.
It's hotter
Yeah.
than hell right now.
Yeah. Also, hopefully my Wi-Fi doesn't mess up, but it has been known to do that because I live on the ranch out here. But it seems to be doing good right now.
Awesome.
No worries. All right, so I guess we'll just jump right into it. I wanted to just catch up with you, see what you've been doing. I know you just got a book out recently,
Yep. Yep.
and you're still doing your podcast. You're big on TikTok. I see your TikToks pop up a lot too, which is surprising. I can't like I'm shocked they haven't canceled you on anything yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty shocked too. I've had some difficulty with that kind of stuff, like light shadow banning and whatever, but I just keep it pushing regardless.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about your book.
Yeah, are we getting started? Are we? Is this it?
Yeah, we're jumping right in. This is it.
Okay, okay. Just pulling up some notes here. Yeah, so of course, I'm Eddie. I go by Esoteric Eddie online, and I've been writing ever since I was a kid. But more specifically, I've published 3 books in the past couple years, all having to do with esoteric history and stuff like that. But my more recent book, The Crystal Lattice Mind Illusion, which I dropped earlier this year, dives into consciousness, the nature of the consciousness and reality, the subconscious, and this crazy matrix that we live in, and how to break free from it. In a nutshell, it's kind of what it's about.
Yeah, I saw your last post about the Matrix and the way
Yeah,
that the guy he it was the vibrational images, right, that he put together and put in a face and was able to create a face out of it.
yeah, yeah. I had
Yeah.
two friends send me that video. Two separate friends send me that video, and they're freaking out. They're like, "You have to investigate this." And so apparently, what the guy did, which is pretty cool, is I'm not sure how he did it, but um, he used like the science, I guess, of cymatics, something similar to cymatics, which is like the science of putting sand or water on like a vibrational plate and then hitting that plate with a certain frequency and causing the water or sand to transform into some sort of like geometric pattern. That's cymatics. And he did something like that as well, where he got like the cymatics of vibrational energy from a person's face, and he was able to like create, I guess, a human face with those vibrational energies, kind of demonstrating how the world around us is made up of vibrational patterns that are interlocked or interconnected. And so we might look at something, for example, a human face, and think it's just one thing, it's just one unit. when really it's made up of so many several different layers, but not just the physical layers, also the layers of the light spectrum, the vibrational spectrum. So he was able to capture that somehow, I don't know, and through art, have these three different plates with each different levels of the vibrational patterns, and then when he put those three plates together, it created a human face. And so that was pretty wild, but again, it was just demonstrating, what I spoke about in my book, which is that the physical world is an illusion. We look at everything as if it's just one solitary unit, when in reality everything, including our body, is made up of all these different layers, which are called lattices.
It's
That's
almost like,
interesting.
yeah,
Oh, go
it
ahead.
Yeah.
almost,
Go ahead.
it's almost like everybody's like a stained glass window and source is light shining through all of those things creating. So
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, man. Yeah, for sure.
It's um it's crazy to me because I feel like the new generation has a different perspective on that. They see it more as like a video game. And
Hmm.
so they'll call, they're like, oh yeah, there's NPCs out there and we're all a video game and that's how we control our life. But that's how they relate to it because they relate into like technology and stuff. Is that far off from what you're talking about?
I mean, not far off, but I get that question kind of sometimes. Like, so what are you saying? We live in a video game? Like, not really. When I say that we live in a simulation, what I mean by that is that our entire physical world runs off of patterns, hard set patterns, and not just patterns, but mathematical equations. And we can see this in the simplest of ways. One example that I give in the book is that it takes roughly about 9 months for a human to be born, formulated and born. And so that alone is a trip. The fact that it's that consistent. It's 9 months. I mean, and and not just that, but the equations that go into creating a human involve abstract geometry, and that abstract geometry is consistent. We start off as a cell, a circular cell, which splits off and multiplies, and then eventually forms a fetus. And the fetus, like many other things in life, starts off in like a spiral pattern, and that spiral pattern is reminiscent or expressive of the fractal nature that exists all around us. Everywhere around us, like a tree, for example, grows in a fractal pattern. Starts off as a seed, and then it sprouts. And as it grows, it starts to create these fractal patterns that we call twigs and branches and leaves. And so everything around us in this simulation runs off of hard set, consistent, fractalized equations and patterns. And so that, by definition, is a program. We are living in a program that is continuously running, and it's seemingly self sufficient. But because we live in a program, that implies a programmer.
Hmm. Do you think that's the universe, God, creator? What do you like to call that?
I like to call it the creator. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't pretend to know who or what it is. I mean, I've had some pretty trippy experiences throughout my life, of course, with psychedelics and even off psychedelics, where I felt some very existential, like some very strong existential energies. And I don't know if that was just coming from my own self or I was connecting to something, but I guess what I'm saying is I have personally never met the creator, as far as I know.
Right.
I've never shook its hand and said hello, but I personally, every day that I wake up, I thank it, whatever it is, wherever it is, I give thanks and praise. And yeah, to me, it's real, but I just don't know what it really is. But in the book, what I do is I analyze all of the ancient, or many of the major ancient cosmologies, creation tales like that of the Egyptians, the Sumerians, even the Torah, and the Hindu, the Vedas. And it's interesting because all of these major cosmological tales start off with similar what's a similar story, and the similarities in all of their stories that I break down are there's three. There are three similarities within all of these ancient major cosmological tales that I break down in the book, and the three similarities are that in the beginning there was a watery darkness. All of them start that way. Whether it's the Egyptian, again, all of these major cosmological tales, they all start with a watery darkness. They say in the beginning there was some sort of watery darkness, and I equate that to ether. Ether, and I'll get more into that. And then after the watery darkness or the ether came what they all call the self-created being. After that came the God, if you will. In the Torah it was God. In the Rig Veda, which is the oldest of the Hindu texts, it was a dude by the name of Svatar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he was a self-created being, androgynous, and again, all these other cosmological tales, it's the same. It was this self-created androgynous being that came forth. So the first consciousness, the very first consciousness, came out of this watery darkness, this ether. And then after those two, according to all of the ancestors throughout all these different cultures, physical life, the physical world, was manifested by this being and the ether through the power of spoken word. All of them say that that was the first act that this creator had did. It manifested everything through the spoken word, and that's interesting because all word is vibration. When we speak, we're just creating vibrations that we understand among each other, and we ourselves, being fractals of our creator, also have this power of manifestation and creation. We all have a consciousness, we all have an imagination, and we can imagine things, and we can put it to paper, put it to word, and then actually physically create it. Not as quick as our creator, who was able to do it according to the text at will, but we also are a fractalized version of that. We have our minds, we have our imaginations, we have the power to create. And so these three similarities in all of these cosmological tales are what I call the ancient matrix. Those three attributes were the recipe for the beginning of everything. And everything around us is just a different expression of those first three attributes of the ancient matrix. The watery darkness, which I call the cosmic ether, is expressive everywhere, in water, in air. Anything that is a wave is a child of the cosmic ether. And the same is true for consciousness. Anything that has a mind, anything that is sentient, is a child of that first consciousness. And vibration is simply what sustains this physical realm, this universe. And the ancients called that vibration the Om. When the monks are chanting Om, the reason they do that is because they are tuning themselves to the underlying vibration that sustains everything. And
Like a
this
resonance.
idea, yeah, and this idea was corroborated later on, in time, with quantum physics. And now we know, uh, because of quantum physics, or through quantum physics, now we know that everything at the particle level is constantly vibrating. It's constantly flickering and phasing in and out of existence. And so our ancestors, the ancients, were right in telling us that the physical world was created and sustained by spoken word via vibration. And so, to answer your question, what do I think that the creator is? I mean, to me, according to the ancient texts and just looking at the life around us, whatever it is, it was a summation of those three original elements. But that's all I can comprehend. That's all that I can
Yeah.
comprehend in this
Yeah.
moment.
What about like I heard a really cool I can't I can't pinpoint who it was. I listened to a lot of different people, but it was almost like heaven is perfect, and you if heaven is perfect, you can't really learn any lessons in heaven, right? So it's almost like and I can't remember if like they channeled it or I don't know what, but it was almost like a Macy's of life suits. And you pick the suit, you're like, okay, this one you're going to learn about suffering and how to process it, and this and that and that and this. And this is the positives, this is negatives. No, okay, you want this one is this and this, how to process happiness. And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and they learn lessons through the life of such and then come back because in heaven you'd be perfect. You wouldn't be able to learn those lessons. Kind of a cool thought, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And actually, towards the end of my book, I speak about something similar to that. And in my book, I say that if you want to know what God thinks, if you want to know what God thinks of us and what it expects of us, all you have to do is analyze nature, observe the nature around you, because nature is God's direct expression. Nature is the only thing that exists our without its needing of our interference. So nature is God's direct expression. And so when you observe what God expects of us through nature, it's clear that God expects us to struggle. Everything in life is a struggle. The seed has to struggle through the dirt, and we have to go through seasons in this life, winter, fall, spring, summer, all of that. So you're right. God doesn't expect us to just live some cushy life. God expects us to go through obstacles. And I think the reason for that is not just so that, we can learn lessons. That's a part of it. I think God ultimately intends for us to be able to handle realizing who it really is and what we really are. But right now, we're not ready for that. And um, I kind of, what's the word? Relate that idea to a story in Kabbalah. There's a story that's told in Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, known as the Shavira, the breaking of the vessels. And in this mystical story, we are told that God, who is known as the Ein Sof in this story, the unknowable light, made a universe prior to this one. And in that universe, God implemented a piece of itself in its creations, a piece of its light. But its light was too strong. And so that entire universe just exploded. Everything exploded. And so the second time around, God committed what is called simsum, self limitation. And so God basically lowered the dosage of itself within its creations so that we could actually be sustained and handle God's light and God's love, because it's that powerful. And so that also, to me, that also explains why God is seemingly everywhere but also seemingly nowhere.
Mm.
It had to withdraw itself so that we could exist. And so I think again, by observing nature, that it's God's intention to eventually have us evolve to the point where we are so elevated as sentient beings we can handle in full who it is and who we really are.
That's really mind blowing. So, I mean, are you also talking about like in general of like being able to like alchemize, reality and our situations to, get past a lot of these hardships that we go through, right? And ultimately, and like figuring it out, and because I feel like even as a collective, we haven't really figured that out completely. We're still just kind of, even the people that are, you could be like the ultimate alchemizer, and then you still don't have it figured out. We're still looking, and there's still more to discover and more to see, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I got two things to say to that. I'll start with the shorter one. Yeah, I like to say that there are things to be known about things to be known.
Mm-hmm.
And psychedelics teaches us that. When you're tripping on psychedelics, um, you realize that there are worlds within worlds. You can take life all the way down to the microscopic level and keep going further and further and further down.
Mm.
And the same is for the macro. We can keep going out and out and out and out. So that's just the nature of our reality. It's fractalizing all the time. And so yeah, there's a lot out there, and the knowledge of the I guess the God's knowledge is infinite. God's capability to create is infinite. And so everywhere you look, you're going to keep finding more and more and more because God is infinite. But to your other point, is it in his intention for us to be able to alchemize that will, as you're saying, and to get over all these obstacles in life? Yeah, I think that is a part of the plan, and actually, more so than that, we are capable of doing that right now at a certain degree, and I teach this in my book, um, because and we are capable of doing this through the mind and body connection. But we first need to realize that we have a mind and body connection, because again, most people walk around in life thinking that they are just one thing, they're just one unit, when that's not even true. The body itself is made up of hundreds, if not thousands and millions of moving parts, if you want to count all the cells.
Mm.
And that's just the body. But we have two major components, the mind and the body. And the mind itself also has multiple components. The mind is as weird as it is, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. The mind is not one thing either. The mind has at least two compartments, the conscious and the subconscious.
Mhm.
And to me, the subconscious is the part that is most closest to God, because it is the part that is most free and liberated. And it is the part where the program resides, where the program is installed, and therefore the conscious mind acts out or lives. And that's why the elite are always trying to attack us subliminally and through our subconscious mind, because what is programmed into your subconscious mind is what your conscious mind will live out. And so we need to understand that first, and then realize that our body is here to help us. It's a machine. Together, the mind and body are a spirit machine. They're meant to be harmonized. And today's world tries to disrupt that. They try to disrupt and break the mind and body connection. And even in some cases, some religions will try and demonize the body, and say that the body is. And of course, you don't want to be too carnal and too into the flesh, but I believe our Creator intended for us to use our body. That's the whole point of this simulation. And when we realize how powerful our mind and body is, then we can start to realize that we can change our lives and we can overcome these obstacles. And I'll give you a couple practical examples and then some fascinating examples that are hypothetical right now, but possible in one someday. Okay, so it's hard for people to change their lives. It's hard for people to stop doing the things they want to stop doing and start doing the things they want to start doing, because we have two minds, and because the program resides in the subconscious. If it was easy for us to change our lives, we would all do it. If we just got up and said, "Oh, I'm going to finally do this thing," then we would.
Mm.
But there's a reason why it's so hard, is because in order to change your life, in order to change your habits, you can't just rely on the conscious mind. You need to go deep within yourself and reprogram the subconscious mind. That is how you change your life. That is how you begin to change your life. And the amazing thing about the body is that it has a lot of autonomic functions, functions that operate without our help. We breathe autonomically, our heart beats autonomically, and there are all kinds of things going on in there autonomically without our interference, without our conscious um, operation. And one of those autonomic functions is healing, literal physical self healing. When we cut ourselves, our body just autonomically heals. But what the yogis have known for thousands of years now is that through certain intensive meditation techniques, you can hack into your body and you can manually operate these autonomic functions. You can slow up or slow down your heart rate. You can actually induce self-healing at will. So in theory, if you were to cut yourself, you could tap into your autonomic healing functions and just cause your body to heal at will quicker than it normally would. These are all the amazing techniques and capabilities that the yogis have been trying to achieve for years and years. And the ultimate technique is to eventually be able to leave your body. And that is very possible as well, because again, we are two different things. And who we really are is the mind and consciousness. We're just using this body as a tool. And so yeah, and we can access all of that right now through meditation, through tuning into our bodies, different autonomic functions, and primarily through tapping into our cerebral spinal fluid and our vagus nervous system, which, and both of
So
those
that's
coupled
like
together are what the
Kundalini, right? Kundalini
yeah,
yoga and breath work, pushing the cerebral spinal fluid down and then back up.
exactly, yeah, you got it, yeah.
Yeah.
Kundalini meditation, that's what the ancients have been doing for thousands of years, and now scientists are realizing that it's a real thing. What they're really doing is tapping into the cerebral spinal fluid and the vagus nervous system, which run up and down from the sacrum to the brain. And both of those systems, again, are responsible for healing, self healing, and also discarding bacteria and viruses. And so we have systems throughout our body that we can tap into right now to heal and overcome traumas and overcome obstacles and overcome bad habits.
It's like it kind of, that's how the placebo effect works. You know what I mean? Our body is naturally healing itself,
Yeah.
believing in the medication that it is healing
Yeah.
us, but it is really us healing ourselves.
Absolutely.
So I had a couple things. So it was wild because I was like, oh, I'm not going to get into alchemy. And then it went alchemy. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk about psychedelics. And then it went psychedelics. So synchronicities. So the
Yeah.
last time that I did mushrooms, basically I had my eyes closed. And uh, basically it was like for millennia, people have sought for the philosopher's stone to turn lead to gold, when in all reality, the philosopher's stone is love, because love transmutes all. And it sounds like super cliche, but it's different when you feel it rather than hear it. And it's wild because it told me like a cool exercise to do is like every day or every week try to take an hour and wear a blindfold or something and eliminate the distraction of sight and see with your heart and focus not so much on love and gratitude as in uh, how they make you feel, but the words themselves, and then later live the way they make you feel. That makes sense. Dude, it was wild and life changing. And so it was really wild when
Yeah.
we're sitting migrating to alchemy and things like that. And then another wild thing is, have you ever heard of Christopher Lentz Bledsoe?
The last name sounds familiar, but
Bledsoe said so, maybe. It's a
sounds familiar.
podcast. Ryan Bledsoe. So his dad basically, he just released a book. It's called UFO of Gods or UFO of God, and I'm reading it, and so like it was wild because I went from being in the Discord and talking with them and doing like the book review club with them, reading the book, and uh, same thing. He's like, I just have a heart of love and gratitude, and he said they react like children, and they're orbs, like they're orbs in the sky. And he had the first time he saw him, that he basically was like crying out, like he had groans, he was like crying out to God like, for help, and saw him, and I don't want to get too far into that. I want you to check it out. But basically, uh, had like 4 hours of missing time, came back, was Crohn's free, but had rheumatoid arthritis, which started talking with like CIA, NASA, uh, the Vatican, even because they were starting to say that the stigmata that what he said he saw the lady, and they had paintings of the lady from way back when, and they were saying that like the stigmata was actually rheumatoid arthritis, which he has now. And so I don't know if he still has it now, but he did. But what's wild is there's different parts in it. There's many interviews of it where can't remember who it was. Somebody from NASA or somebody was there at his house, and his dog ran through the sliding glass door and was cut like really bad. And they ran in and got a rag, and he's holding it. And he's just like, "What do I do? I need help. What do I do?"
There he is.
All right, I'm back.
There you are.
Okay, I got a question. We're talking
Yeah,
about San Diego.
yeah.
I want to hear the story about the Yellow Deli cult.
Uh, all right, man. I actually got a pretty interesting story on that. So for
I know
are
I
you wait,
heard
are you
it was I can't remember where.
okay? So for those who don't know, there's what some would call a cult down here called the Yellow Deli. I forgot what their actual church name is, but they're a band or they're a group of Christians, Messianic Christians, who kind of live what I call like an Amish style life on this ranch. You know, everything's farm to table on their ranch, and they dress like they're from like way back in the day. But they're very serious. You know, they're Messianic Christians, and they have a chain of restaurants called the Yellow Deli, and it's like a very rustic, like cool country restaurant. But the interesting thing is they actually don't eat any of the food that they serve there. All of that stuff, it looks like it's farm to table, but it's all like natural stuff or like stuff that they get from different suppliers. They only eat what they grow on their actual ranch. But no, so they're a trip, and just like any other cult, any member who joins them has to give up all of their possessions to the higher ups and like leave their entire life, and they have to like grow out their hair, and they have to take a Hebrew name on, you know, and they have to learn Hebrew and all this stuff. And so, very hardcore Messianic Christians who run this restaurant. And so I've been going there for many years, and I have a Hebrew tattoo on my arm that says Elohim. And so every time they see it, they like just get all super happy and giddy and just want to start talking to me about Hebrew and, you know, why did I get the tattoo, this and that. And, you know, and to be honest, I got the tattoo because Elohim is the most critically mistranslated word in the entire Bible. And if you translate it correctly, it changes the entire narrative. And basically the narrative falls into the whole Anunnaki ancient alien narrative when you translate it correctly. And I didn't tell them that right away. You know, I kind of gave them like my more general answer that, you know, Elohim is also the creative aspect of God, which it is in the Torah. So, anyways, one of these days, one of the older staff members there saw my tattoo. We got into a cool discussion about religion and stuff, and he invited me out into their ranch to have dinner on Friday night. And every Friday night, actually, they have an open.
That ranch Wi-Fi.
If you, I wrote it down.
The Yellow Deli out here in San Diego.
It's out that way. He was getting into the like he went to dinner there. It's wild. I told you I couldn't remember what it was called. I have to look it up. It's like the 12 tribes of Abraham or something like that. Are you looking it up?
I am.
Here, let's see.
It's in Oceanside.
It's in Oceanside. See, it's not
Mm-hmm.
far from you.
It's like, yeah.
12 tribes encourages members to live as adherents to an early church, emphasizing its communal aspect. 12 tribes of businesses like the Yellow Deli exploit cult followers for free. It's basically so anybody who works at the Yellow Deli is working without pay to be a
Damn.
part of it. Oof, man.
Interesting.
Okay. Oh yes.
Yo, sorry about that.
It's okay. It's that
No,
that
you're
little
good.
ranch Wi-Fi, the little Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got mini ranch, mini goats, and mini Wi-Fi. Uh,
So I got a question because I kind of have the similar upbringing as you. I was raised Christian my entire life. Went to Christian
oh, there we
school
go.
till like 10th grade. Um, like basically, I had a near death experience 2 years ago, and it kind of changed everything for me. I've always been uh, like in interior, and I don't know. I always ask questions, but as of recent, it's been different. Um, and for me, it's gone to the point where it's like, okay, the Bible I know that I read has been produced as of the 1600s. And most of the people then were illiterate. So the only people who could read it to them were those that read in the streets. And so who's to say that they wouldn't be able to put something in there to get the people's minds through religion to subdue themselves to the king, or you know what I mean? Like there's parts pay the taxes and follow the law, you know what I mean? And this is all
Yeah.
just going to that aspect. I
Yeah.
kind of want to know, for me, for instance, I believe in God and I believe in a creator and I believe that Jesus did exist. Um, I don't think that he believed he was savior of mankind. Uh, I think that he tapped into what he said basically, you know, I am that you say I am. But at the end of the day, like he said that each of us have the same abilities. He told, they're like, you know, how do I secure a place at the right hand of God in heaven? And he said, the kingdom of Christ is here and it's within you, here and now. Like there's different things that for me, it's almost the best way I could describe it is almost like if you had like a giant ball, a big ball of light, you dropped it on the ground and it broke into a billion pieces, but you had one big chunk, and that big chunk is source. All those little billions of shards are all the little pieces within us that belong to source. And the whole goal is for us to reconvene back with source through all that we are, you know what I mean?
I think we lost him.
It's okay. What do you think, Marisol?
Wait, about
Wait,
what?
about what?
What I just said.
I'm back.
There he is.
Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're back. All right.
Sorry
What was
about
the
that, man.
last
Yeah,
thing you heard?
I got to get
No,
this
you're good.
figured out, man. I'm gonna have to probably start doing interviews like somewhere else because it's not cutting it here. But the last thing I heard you say was that you believe Jesus didn't believe he was the savior, that he was just tapping into that I am what you say I am energy.
Well, and
Uh,
I think a big part of it is I don't think he said those things. I kind of think that the Vatican basically killed him off and created what is known as Christianity and has massacred millions in the name of him who they killed, if that makes sense. When you know what I mean, like all he ever preached was love. And through all these years, they've preached like, you know, like hellfire and brimstone if you don't believe. But then you look into things like I can't remember the verse exactly, but like it's basically something about like kings know the history. and or it's something like kings seek out the history and God looks grateful upon them, something like that. I can't
Yeah, I know
remember
what you're referring to.
exactly. I know it's in Proverbs. I can't. Okay. So to me, like how that resonates is, and rather than accepting what's been spoon fed to me my entire life, I've taken it upon myself to understand it in my own way.
Yeah, he said he's gonna